Coming this summer, Logan is killing zombies. Meeting The Sopranos. Hey, how the hell are you?
Oh my god, you were so good at first, and now you just
That's
completely killed the joke.
That's my Tony Soprano.
You sound like Chris.
Hey, what the hell are you doing?
You sound like Chris Raygun. Look it up. The video game, TV, movie gold rush is upon us, guys.
I knew it. We called it. We actually called it. I mean, I think I actually called it. But Marvel movies, they're great. Don't get me wrong.
Are you excited to see Black Widow?
Well, we've seen. Oh, because there's a woman in it. We're up to sexist. No, the bottom line is there's been like 40 Marvel movies in the span of 4 years. Like, there is so many of them that I think everyone, especially gamers, are like, cool, what's next? Okay, it's not DC. Let's be real. Okay.
Why would you know what you're doing? I don't know what I'm doing. You're going round in circles.
DC's tried and they're getting better, okay? But let's be real, I reckon it's going to be video games.
I agree.
And they're already starting that with new production.
That's true, and just this week we learned that there is going to be an official Last of Us show from HBO with some seriously big names behind it. It feels like this is actually going to happen where pretty much every other video game production doesn't happen or it sucks. It could be exciting. Let's talk about it after the drop.
I'm really looking forward to when you hear the HBO opening before it. That's kind of right.
Kind of. Drop.
So guys, look, the Marvel Universe is fading. Game of Thrones was a failure, okay? Total failure.
Thank God it's over.
Started great, was a total disaster at the end of it, but it actually was though, right?
It was
People are
atrocious.
hungry for new shit.
I think nerds need the next thing, and video games are looking to step in. We've already had Detective Pikachu.
Pretty
not
good.
Not a bad effort. We had Witcher 3.
Total Water Temple just figuring that shit out, but it was on to a good thing.
It was massively successful as well. About 76 million households watched The Witcher 3 in its
76.
opening window. That's the most successful Netflix launch of all time. So clearly, lots of people tossed lots of coins at good old Geralt.
Yes.
And they were keen for more.
And Sonic came and didn't suck.
That's right.
It doesn't
Miracles.
sound right, but he
that's true.
came and didn't suck. Okay, but that was a very, very good movie.
It was.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is in talks apparently of being in the second film.
To do what? What's he going to be?
I don't know, maybe Knuckles. I don't know.
I'd watch that.
But I would watch that
There was also a Borderlands film which was announced last week with some guy directing it who no one really likes this guy for some reason.
I wonder if we're going to go through 7 directors like another film.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Look, it's just clearly in high demand. It's
Correct.
totally a thing.
So today's announcement is big because it turns out that HBO are working on an official Last of Us TV show. Here is the official quote. Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin will develop an HBO series adaptation of the award-winning video game The Last of Us. It was announced today by HBO programming president Casey Bloys. That announcement certainly doesn't Bloys.
Terrible. Keep that in. Terrible.
Druckmann and Mazin will write and executive produce. Carolyn Strauss of Game of Thrones and Chernobyl will executive produce along with Evan Wells from Naughty Dog. The project is a co-production of Sony Pictures Television and in association with PlayStation Productions. The Last of Us is the first television series from PlayStation Productions.
I'm surprised that is it JMC, The Walking Bad? Or the Walking
AMC.
the AMC, the Walking Dead.
Bad.
The Walking Dead. And they also did Breaking Bad. But I'm surprised they didn't pick this up because they've already got the whole zombie thing down pat.
Correct.
They're not doing it.
It's like use the same sets.
Yeah, use the same guy.
The governor.
I mean, he could do it. The guy, what's his name? The main guy. He could
Coral.
play him. Coral. He could play him. Oh, man.
Nah, man.
Missed opportunity.
There are other people that wanted for that role, but we'll come back to that. So just in case you don't know who the creative forces behind this are, obviously Neil Druckmann is the creator of The Last of Us from Naughty Dog. He's the guy that's created and written the whole thing, so already we're guaranteed that this is going to be a very faithful adaptation. It's also quite unusual for actual video game creators to be in sort of the front seat of like television or movie adaptations. So seeing him so close to the action on this is very encouraging. The other person is Craig Mazin, and if you haven't seen Chernobyl,
so good.
Go watch Chernobyl, man.
So good.
That was incredible, but the biggest, probably best show of last year. and won all the awards. It was on HBO, telling the story of the Chernobyl disaster.
Yep.
Fantastic television. And before that, though, this guy actually wrote, and this is pretty famous.
Quite a few things.
He wrote Rocket Man. Remember that show from that movie from years ago?
Rocket Man came out recently. You mean the...
No, not the
one.
Elton John one. This is the old one. Anyway, look it up. You'll see it. Scary Movie 3, Scary Movie 4,
Hangovers, 1 and
superhero
2.
movie.
Oh, sorry, 2 and 3.
That's right. Not the good Hangover 1. He wrote the shit ones, 2 and 3,
Yeah.
right? So this guy basically had a comedy writing career behind him, but until he's like, you know what? I'm gonna try this whole serious thing and how that goes.
I mean,
and boom.
It's gonna be weird if he does it though. It's like, oh my god, a zombie's killing me. You know, the fucking Seinfeld laugh. Ha ha ha. I wonder how it's actually gonna be.
I wonder if the jokes will be as bad as that one.
What's wrong with that joke?
Wow.
Terrible.
Alright, so you might be wondering, what's it about? Because sometimes video game adaptations of TVs and movies, they can go a little bit crazy. Super Mario Brothers.
Mortal Kombat.
I know, Mortal Kombat was exactly about what Mortal Kombat was about.
Fine.
What if
Street Fighter? Okay.
Street Fighter, well, it was a bit up in there. Anyway,
that's a better
here's the quote from What to Expect.
Based on the critically acclaimed video game The Last of Us, developed by Naughty Dog exclusively for the PlayStation platforms, the story takes place 20 years after modern civilization has been destroyed. Joel, a hardened survivor, is hired to smuggle Ellie, a 14-year-old girl, out of an oppressed quarantine zone. What starts as a small job soon becomes a brutal, heartbreaking journey as they both must travel across the US and depend on each other for survival. The HBO series will cover the events of the original game, which was written by Druckmann, with the possibility of additional content based on the forthcoming game sequel, The Last of Us Part 2.
So can I just say, to interrupt you before you finish the quote?
Yeah.
I am a little bit disappointed by this, to be
100%.
honest, because The Last of
already
Us
played it.
was essentially a TV show. Now, I know a lot of people are going to get triggered, and they say it's the greatest gameplay of all time. No, disagree. The Last of Us gameplay is pretty fine if you like moving ladders. Imagine how triggered the chat is right now. No, but seriously, like, you played The Last of Us because of its story. That story was told very cinematically with some top-tier voice acting talent.
course.
It was essentially a television show that you could play. Now to hear that this television show will just be a television show based upon the events of the game, which we've already seen, I don't love that. I was really
100%.
hoping that they would have a different angle, different spin, whatever else. I'm sure it's still going to be cool, but
Yeah.
I've seen this already. Do you know what I mean?
This is the thing, right? Look, if it was like an indie title, it's such a gem of a story and they wanted to bring it to a bigger audience, it'd
Sure.
be like, fine, maybe, but like, everyone knows this, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, everyone that is a gamer is going to watch this, and that is majority of your audience. Like, why are you making them watch it all over again?
Yeah, and to be fair as well, The Last of Us story is not particularly innovative. Like, I know, again, triggering people, but it's really not. Like, it's the zombie story, and let's get through and survive and protect the kid, and then
Father
the thing
and
happens.
daughter thing
Children
happening.
of men, all sorts of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's about the whole package and the way it came together. It's about the fact that there probably wasn't a better told story, or sort of like emotionally told story in video games up to that point when The Last of Us released.
Have you seen Metal Gear Solid when he was going up the ladder?
true, the ladder.
Very emotional.
Only topped by Nier Automata's ladders. Much
Oh, I
many
didn't
years
have
later.
played that. I've not played
You
that.
can look up those.
Okay.
But look, I don't know. I just feel like that story itself is not super gripping. It was really gripping in 2013 when we had it was quite new and fresh for video games
Sure.
to be able to do this thing, you know. But now I wonder how well it will translate to the screen.
I really
in
think
2020.
it comes down to who they get. Okay, if they get good old Jackie Boy, Hugh Jackman,
yeah,
if they
well,
get
this is
him,
it.
I would like to see.
There are
Okay.
Hugh Jackman started trending as soon as this announcement was made because everyone's like, Hugh Jackman must be Joel. It's got to be him or cancel the whole thing. And you know what? They're not wrong. It has to be Hugh Jackman.
Yep.
Like, look at photos, man. There's photos on screen here. Tell me this man is not Hugh Jackman. And in fact, he's kind of already played this role in Logan.
Yes.
So he had to protect the girl in Logan,
Yes,
and he was a
of course.
grouchy old man, and then, you know.
But look, you know the other guy. What's his name? The guy that cut his hand off again in Game of Thrones. Jamie Lannister.
I saw that photo as well.
Yes, he could also play this. You know,
Yeah.
there's a few people.
Mark Hamill.
Also me, potentially. No.
Yeah, right.
Look,
Just
casting
like,
directors.
call
No.
me.
Yeah. No, but there's heaps of people that could play this. So
But
like,
the question is, does Joel sing at all during
Does
The
he
Last
have-
of Us?
you know,
does he have a piano
can
number
he jump
during
on the
Last of Us?
piano?
That's right.
Okay.
But Hugh Jackman can't do that, so get wrecked.
Damn it,
He's got
Hugh.
you there, man. He's got you
Does
there.
Hugh play piano?
Yes, he does.
Oh, he does. Shit. Okay. Anyway,
You're
that is
just
not
Hugh
good.
Jackman light.
I know.
Oh.
Damn it. All right, guys. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Okay, let's move on because it's hurting my feelings. Now, actually, they were going to make a movie about The Last of Us in 2013.
Yes.
And this was the actual quote. Screen Gems, the studio behind the Resident Evil film franchise, will bring another video game to the big screen. The studio announced today they've sealed a deal to distribute the feature film version of Naughty Dog's PS3 title, The Last of Us, a screen adaptation which will count Spider-Man and Evil Dead veteran Sam Raimi amongst its producers.
That was actually a quote from 2014 when that was announced, and that never actually happened. They apparently, Neil Druckmann said the script was done and they had it all locked in, but it just never occurred. So this adaptation will officially replace that. That hasn't been announced yet, but I mean, obviously it will. Like, you can't make a movie of The Last of Us while also making a TV show that tells the story of the game.
Well, if the TV show goes well, then they could do.
Maybe. IGN has said, quote, they've learned from sources at Sony that the newly announced HBO TV adaptation of The Last of Us will replace the film adaptation that Sony previously announced back in 2014. At the time, Sony announced that Neil Druckmann would write and produce the film adaptation under Sony's Screen Gems movie label. Sam Raimi was also attached to produce the film, as we just said. So look, this means that the movie is not happening, but the TV show is, and that's exciting. But we can't count our chickens until they hatch, because did you know that right now there are like 40 video game related movies and TV shows that are like in production,
and one of them is like having like the 40th director now.
Well, actually, another Naughty Dog game, Uncharted, the movie for that just got its 7th director this week. That's not a typo. 7 directors have said they're going to do this film.
And Antonio
Number
Banderas is joining the cast, which is pretty cool.
Is he actually?
Yes, did you see that?
I did not know
Antonio Banderas will be, will he be Puss in Boots? I want to know if he will be, who knows. But
there's also a COD movie which has been in the works for a long time, and it just got a new writer. The person who wrote The Joker is apparently writing the Call of Duty movie, but that movie is now being paused while they work on that new script. There's also other stuff like The Division. Remember how they talked about The Division one with Jake Gyllenhaal? The Metal Gear movie, which has been in production forever.
Yes.
Half-Life apparently.
I didn't know that was a movie at Half-Life.
Yeah, apparently like J.J. Abrams was involved in that. Monster Hunter actually has a movie that is coming out relatively soon. You can find the posters for it as well, and our editor will put it up right now.
Thank you. Ding. And God of War. Let's not forget that. Isn't there talks about that?
I think there was always talks, but I don't know if there's really.
I think Corey could be good there. Corey,
he would love that, man. Corey wants to be a movie director more than he wants to be a game director.
100%.
So believe me, he would be all over that like white on rice. Anyway, guys, that's the news for today. We know that there is an HBO Last of Us show coming. It's with the right people, like Neil Druckmann, who made The Last of Us, and it's with that Chernobyl guy who's obviously extremely talented, except for The Hangover 1 and 2. We'll forget about that. Let us know in the comments below which video games you think should be converted to movies and TVs. I would like to see,
what would I like to see?
Anthem.
That'd be good.
Fallout 76.
4 hours
Please.
of just a loading screen.
Yeah, totally.
Fallout 76 would be good too.
That's a lot of episodes for us. That'd be
That's
great.
a lot.
Thank you. Please.
Yes, that's it.